Hello, my friends, and welcome back to Meerkat Musings. Welcome to a brand new series of videos called Meerkat Books, where I'm just going to touch base on a few pearls of wisdom that I have both heard and I guess you could say developed myself, although I sort of mean that a bit loosely, in terms of the writing process. Now, I'm just trying to pass along some of the things that I've learned over the course of time about how I go about writing. And I'm also going to pass on some of the advice and guidance that I've received from elsewhere. And I'm going to start with that by talking about the what if process. Now, I came across this in a book by someone called Lindsay Grant. They wrote a book called Ready, Set, Novel, and if you are looking to get into writing for the first time, for that matter, if you are looking at doing this for the upteenth time, I think it's a good book to get. It's not just a book that you read. There are various exercises within this book for you to make notes and to kind of develop and expand your story. And one of the early parts of this that I have found particularly useful is the what if. I guess you could call it the what if game, but it effectively asks you to write down, what if scenario A, B, and C happens. So, your starting point could be, what if you go to work one day to find that the place has been burgled? What if you discover in the course of phoning the police that it's actually someone that you know? What if you are then sort of torn between helping out this desperate friend and kind of following through with what you need to do in terms of work? That's obviously one example, and you could use that exercise for a number of reasons. What if you awake in a world where all of a sudden everyone is half human, half antelope, except you? Just a bit random, I know. What if you discover this is because you fell into a parallel universe? What if you are an outcast in this society you find yourself in? What if you're being hunted as a curiosity? What if you find your life in danger as you try to escape? I don't know. I mean, it's that sort of thing. You build upon the previous answer, and you keep doing this until you're satisfied that you've actually built something you think could be worthwhile approaching as a story. And the thing is, you can link all of these together and then write out one story, or you could break it down into chunks. You write the answer to the first question, which effectively is the beginning of your story, and you kind of then add to it that way. And I just found it to be a really invaluable way of developing the plot of something I plan to write, and it's an exercise I think I shall repeat on a great many occasions for future stories. So it might not suit you. That's the thing. It might not be an exercise that you want to dig into, but I think it's a really handy little trick, a great little tool to take one question, what if something happens, and by the time that you're done, maybe 10, 15, 20 what if questions later, you've expanded that little universe you want to build massively. So I think the what if question, or the what if game, however you want to call it, is a really handy exercise for anyone to follow. It doesn't matter whether, as I say, you're new at this, whether you've got sort of many years of experience at this. And if you've got many years of experience at writing, then to be fair, this might be something you do anyway. But I think it's brilliant. and I plan, as I say, to use this on every new project that I start from this point forward. I think this is going to be something I find very, very handy to do. The one and only drawback is what I would want to do is have individual copies of this book devoted to each individual story I'm developing, and that would become a somewhat costly exercise. But I'm sure there are ways and means of doing this online, and I'm sure there are sites, and know there are sites that are developed around the concept of helping people to build characters and stories and worlds. For me, I think the pen and paper approach still works. I find it to be quite satisfying, quite soothing, and I rather enjoy writing by hand, to be fair, from time to time. So I'll probably want to keep to that. But if you do get the chance to get this book, Ready Set Novel by Lindsay Grant. I found it at my local Waterstones. I have no doubt that it's going to be available online and from various other sort of retailers, so do feel free to have a look. But yeah, it's an exercise now that I don't think I can do without, to be honest, when it comes to developing stories. So there you have it, basically. There you have my first sort of Meerkat Books Pearl of Wisdom, as it were. Find what works for you with this. Maybe you can incorporate it into your writing process. Maybe you'll decide not to. But if you do decide to do so, I think you'll enjoy the process as much as anything else. And with luck, you'll find it really, really handy. Thanks for listening, guys. Take care. Bye-bye.